Well, hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you, and in this video today we're going to be looking at finding the area of a circle. Alright, so just a reminder about circles. Okay, when we have a circle, it is the set of all points that are equidistant from any given point. So if I have my handy dandy compass here, if I draw a circle here, that is all the points that are the same distance away from that center. All right, that distance from there to there, from the center to any point on the circle, that is called the radius. R is equal to the radius. And remember, they don't have it pictured here, but we also have a segment that goes all the way across the circle, a chord actually that goes through the center, and that is called the diameter. D is equal to the diameter. Okay, that is the distance all the way across the circle, where the radius goes only halfway across from the center. And remember, the relationship is that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Something that's going to be very important to remember when you are working with finding the area of the circle. So circumference is the distance around the outside of the circle. All right, so circumference. My Moby's having a hard time writing this morning. So circumference equals the distance around the circle. All right, the distance around the circle. And the formula for circumference, we did two formulas. We did pi times the diameter, or we also did pi times 2 times the radius, or as textbooks often do, they like to put that 2 in front and say 2 pi r. So those were the formulas for finding the circumference. All right, but now we're going to be looking at area. Okay, so area is the space inside the circle. All right, area is the space inside the circle. So if I were looking at the circumference, I would travel around. Okay, so circumference travels around the circle, and area, well, area is going to be the amount of space inside the circle. How many square units does it take to fill the circle? All right, and the formula for area is A equals pi times r squared. All right, so I'm going to write it over here, even though it's right there. All right, so we have pi again, just like we had pi in circumference, but instead of pi times diameter, or pi times 2 times radius, we have pi times r squared. Now, just like when we were working with circumference, sometimes they gave you the diameter, sometimes they gave you the radius. So if instead we had the diameter, we need to remember if the radius is half of the diameter, then we need to take the diameter and divide it by 2 and square it. Okay, so if they give you the diameter instead of the radius, you can still find the area. You just have to divide it by 2, because d divided by 2 is equal to r. All right, so d is equal to 2r, and I'm going to write it right here. D divided by 2 is equal to r. All right, that's going to be important. When we're finding circumference, we often use this. Now that we're finding area, we're going to be using this. All right, and just a reminder, area is in square units, because we're actually measuring how many squares it would take to fill the circle. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples here. All right, let's see here if I got one that actually has a picture on it. Okay, well, that doesn't have a picture. That's all right. We can sketch the picture right here. It says a circular pool has a radius of 10 feet. What is the area of the surface of the water of the pool? Use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to sketch my circle here. It says it has a radius of 10 feet. Okay, so first our formula, A is equal to pi times r squared. All right, and it says to use 3.14 for pi, which we've been doing. So I'm going to go 3.14 times. Then I'm going to do 10, and I need to do 10 squared. Now remember, squared means times itself. All right, so another way to look at that would be 3.14 times 10 times 10. But luckily we have a button on our calculator, a squared button. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my handy dandy calculator here. And again, I want to do pi times r squared. I'm putting 3.14 in for pi times 10, and then I'm going to go ahead and you see right here there's a squared button. I'm going to put the squared button, 3.14 times 10 squared, and I get 314. Now if you did not have a squared button, you could do 3.14 times 10 and then times 10 again. But usually these days, pretty much any calculator is going to have that squared button. So we get 314. Now here's where we got to be careful. We remember we need our units, but it's not 314 feet. It's 314 feet squared. Because again, we are finding about the space inside the circle, and the space inside the circle is measured in square units. All right. Okay, so there's our first example. All right, let's look at another example where we are asked to find the area. If I could get there. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. All right, so I'm going to go to number 2 first, because on number 2 you'll notice that they gave us the radius. So the radius is equal to 12. All right, now let's go back to number 1. Notice on number 1 they gave us the diameter. So the diameter is equal to 14. And remember, the radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. So the radius is going to be 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So the radius is equal to 7 meters. All right. So r is equal to 7 meters. So my recommendation to you, if they give you the diameter, just go ahead and find the radius. So again, the diameter is equal to 20, right? So the radius is going to be 20 divided by 2, or 10. All right, so for this one, r is equal to 10. So I'm just going to go ahead right here and just write that. R is equal to 10. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just write that. R is equal to 7. So again, my recommendation to you, just find the radius. If they give you the radius, great. If they give you the diameter, find the radius before you do it. And then you could just plug it into the same formula every time. Area is equal to pi times the radius squared. All right, and remember, we're going to use 3.14 for pi. All right, so for this one, the area is going to be 3.14 times 7 squared. All right, for this one, the area is going to be 3.14 times 12 squared. For this one, the area is going to be 3.14 times 10 squared. Again, I'm using the radius. Even when they give me the diameter, I'm using the radius. All right, and then it's just a matter of putting it into my calculator. And notice the directions do say round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So this first one is going to be 3.14 times 7 squared. 7 squared. And when I do that, I get 153.86. Remember, it's meters squared, but rounded to the nearest tenth, that's going to be 153.9 meters squared. This next one right here, I'm going to go ahead and put in 3.14 times 12 squared. And when I do that, I get 452.16. And this is going to be millimeters squared. But again, when I round to the nearest tenth, that's going to be 452.2. And finally, this last example, and then we're going to be done right here. It's going to be 3.14 times 10 squared. And when we do that, we get, hey, that was the example we did before, huh? Imagine that, the same answer. That one comes out exact, 314 squared yards. All right, so that's just a quick video introducing you to finding the area of a circle. Remember, area is the space on the inside of a circle, and you find it by multiplying pi times the radius squared. All right, I hope that helped you out. Until next time, have a great day, everybody.